Hello, everyone. Welcome to our alum panel. I hope everyone is having a wonderful Wednesday. That's the announcer in me coming out. As a lot of us know, I do announcements for Macaulay on red days, and we always make up fun things for the days like Terrific Tuesday, Fantastic Friday. I just said Wonderful Wednesday, but that's neither here nor there. Welcome to our alum panel. I hope everyone is having a great evening. I'm your host, Noadia Jones. I'm a senior here at Macaulay. As I mentioned before, I do announcements on red days. I'm a Kairos leader. I'm on the senior advisory board. I'm a part of our current production at Macaulay, which is Shrek the Musical. I'm Donkey, so you guys should be looking out for that. And I am also the founder and president of Mother Macaulay's Black Student Union, and that is why we are having this panel today. As we all know, during Black History Month, we kind of celebrate the same people, right? We celebrate our Martin Luther Kings and our Rosa Parks and our Harriet Tubmans, and that's great. And we should always recognize those people and what they have done in our history and for our history. But this February, the Black Student Union, we wanted to do something different. And what better noble Black figures to recognize and celebrate than our own alum? So, without further ado, I'm going to start introducing them and letting them introduce themselves. And don't forget that as they are speaking, you guys can drop questions in the chat for each of them as they speak. If you have any questions about anything they say or anything you're wondering. And yeah, so I know you guys are tired of hearing me talk. So, Nia, if you want to take it away.
Hi, everyone. My name is Nia Russell, and I'm a proud member of Macaulay's graduating class of 2020. So just last year, I graduated, and I'm currently an honors freshman biology pre-med student at North Carolina A&T State University. And I received the Lewis and Elizabeth Dowdy Scholarship to attend here. So I'm really grateful for that opportunity. And while I was at Macaulay, I was involved with track and field, student ambassadors, multiple honor societies, but my personal favorite was the Science National Honor Society, which was put into place my junior year. And I was really thankful that during my senior year, I was the president of that organization. And it's just nice to see it kind of continue to grow as the years have gone on. I met some of my best friends at Macaulay, my lifelong friends that we still keep in contact with to this day, even though we were kind of cut short last year during the pandemic. It was still nice, even now, just to kind of keep in contact via Zoom or just FaceTime and kind of areas like that. In regards to my college experience, it definitely has been abnormal compared to, I'm sure, some of the other panelists who are older. They've probably had a little bit more of a normal college experience, but I am a freshman, so my campus is in Greensboro, North Carolina, and we were able to come on campus for both semesters, which I'm really thankful for. But experiencing life in a pandemic, especially during college, it has been definitely a change and an adjustment, but I'm really thankful for my Macaulay education because it definitely prepared me for college, and I was able to kind of make the transition to college from high school a lot easier and just a lot more smoothly because Macaulay definitely prepared me for all of my courses, which I'm really, really thankful for. And the connections that I've made at Macaulay, they still hold true to this day. I still talk to some of my teachers, and I guess as this panel kind of shows too, like they definitely make sure that when you graduate, you have a strong network of alumni that you know are going to look out for you, and women that you know are going to root for you and always want you to succeed. So that's just really nice to know and really a blessing to have for anybody. So I guess I can talk a little bit more about kind of what I've been up to since I graduated Macaulay. So I graduated in May, June, kind of with the pandemic. It got pushed back a little bit, but since college, I did start in August, and I've been taking mostly kind of science courses, which Macaulay's science program I can definitely vouch for. I wasn't the strongest in freshman year, but by senior year, I love science, and it's why I want to pursue a career in hopefully after I finish my undergraduate degree, I can attend medical school and become either an OBGYN or a pediatric psychiatrist. So I'm definitely taking a lot of science classes and just kind of taking classes that interest me and that are interesting. And that's one thing that I really like about college is that you kind of get to set your own schedule. So you kind of get to really take classes in things that you're interested in and subjects that you really do want to learn more about. Um, and also during the pandemic, I really wanted to find a way to reach back into the community because, as we all know, like a lot of families have been impacted by it, and especially families with younger kids and kids that are students. So during my winter break, I started around November. I started a tutoring service that I kind of reached out to some people that I knew, and I just wanted to kind of have an outlet for students who may not be able to receive the help that they would normally receive, like in-person instruction. So I started that, and I was able to help just a few students in my local community with their homework after school or preparing for the ACT or the SAT or whatever standardized test they were preparing for. And that was just really something that I really was passionate about because I know people personally that have been impacted by the pandemic, and it's just nice to lend out a helping hand whenever you can in any way that you can. So that's kind of what I've done most recently, I would say. But I am very, very grateful for this panel and just for the opportunity to speak about what I've been up to. And I definitely encourage young girls and especially Macaulay students that really, when you're at Macaulay, try to find what you really enjoy. They have so many opportunities and so many organizations that you can join to really find what subjects and what activities you really thrive in and that you really enjoy. So definitely explore that because when you get to college, it's just going to foster even more. And their opportunities truly are endless. So I would definitely say to go after whatever you want to go after and really work hard while you can because I believe everything happens for a reason. And in the end, it's all going to work out just as long as while you're in the process, you're working hard and just kind of keeping your options open. So that's a little bit about me. I'm not sure if there are any questions right now or if that's more for the end.
Yeah, that's more for later, but we'll keep them posted for you.
Okay, sounds good. Well, that's a little bit about me. And thank you guys so much again. I really enjoyed talking to you guys and just seeing everyone again. So thank you.
Awesome. Thank you. So next we're going to have Miss Olivia.
Hello, everyone. My name is Olivia Sharif. I also graduated in 2020 with NIA. I am currently in Nashville, Tennessee, attending Fisk University. And I'm just going to talk about my experience at Macaulay because it was a great path to find. I found some great friends and family to this day. So entering into Macaulay, I was a shy freshman, and today I'm not that young lady, so Dean Gardner can vouch for that. I was not even optimistic to the point where I would be comfortable doing this panel. I really questioned the reality of attending an all-girls school, being that I was an African-American young lady, and it wasn't a lot of girls like me. And my mother always pushed me and my sister to do things that we weren't for sure of because in the end, it would work out for the better. So my journey through Macaulay was kind of difficult because I was struggling to find where I fit in with the crowd. Everyone had, like, it seemed, came from the same school or came from a place where they knew people, and I knew no one. So I knew my sister, but that was about it. So I was like, okay, let me find where I fit into the jungle they call Mighty Mac. So it was tough and completely different, but I learned to balance school and making a social life because it's very important in Macaulay to get involved, because once you get involved, you start finding people who are really like you in ways you would never realize. So it grew on me that Macaulay is a place really for a family. Macaulay really grows you because freshman year, I can recall being in the music department. Junior year, I wasn't in the music department. So it's all things that grow you and to see where do you really fit into Macaulay. My junior year, I was in Miss Snow's theology class, and she really taught us how to embrace being different, even at Macaulay. Because if you don't embrace being different, then you're never going to learn your place. She opened diversity in her classroom, and I'm really grateful for Miss Snow because she does that a lot with students. She teaches them where they really belong in Macaulay. Even if you don't have Miss Snow, Miss LeCompte is the best woman ever too, because she also pushes girls to learn where they're from. And Miss LeCompte is so quiet to the point where you have to really hear what they're saying. And you have to let Macaulay really grow on you. And that's really what I took out of Macaulay, just to learn to be different. I grew because my teachers pointed out that differences make us special. So currently, I learned from Macaulay, even graduating in 2020, that reaching out to girls and talking to people who aren't like me is what I was really meant for. I grew into a social butterfly even by attending Kairos, by attending dances, by attending volleyball games, basketball games that I really didn't have an interest in until I learned like what a fan section really was by attending Macaulay. A lot of things that Macaulay taught me my senior year is to be emotional, intellectual, and perspective, because we all have different ideas, but we have to learn how to embrace those different ideas. I thank Macaulay for those leading aspects every day, because I take those aspects in my daily life. Today, I constantly inspire to talk to girls who don't seem like they fit in, who don't really seem like they want to talk, because I know that in the long run, it'll work out for them just how Macaulay taught it to work out for me. And a lot of people are so surprised, like, about the all-girls school. What is it like? Do you hate it there? And I don't have one bad thing to say about Macaulay. I can say freshman year that I wasn't comfortable, but I learned to grow into being comfortable, because that's what Macaulay does. It excels girls beyond their expectations. I currently join so many clubs at my school. I don't know how to handle it all, but I blame that on Mother Macaulay, because constantly my teachers are like, well, do this and do that, do this. I'm like, well, I don't know. But once I started doing that, like joining the science club, had no interest in science, but teachers make it fun. Macaulay makes it fun because it's a family. It's a unity of girls who don't judge you by your outward appearance, but looks at your content and your character. And it's hard to decipher that in the beginning, but once you start attending things, once you start getting involved, it really does make a difference. So thank you, Macaulay, Ms. Gardner, and everyone from allowing me to speak, because my journey through Macaulay was such a great experience, and I appreciate you all.
Thank you so much. We are here for the character development. Okay, so next we're gonna move on to Ms. Denai.
Can you guys hear me? Okay, thank you all so much for having not only me, but everyone on the panel. It is truly a blessing and an honor to be here. I really appreciate it. So I graduated from Macaulay back in 2014, and I can't believe that was 7 years ago. I'm old, but after I graduated from Macaulay in 2014, I attended Michigan State University in East Lansing, Michigan. And Macaulay really prepared me for my next chapter. It prepared me to live in a complex, dynamic society by teaching me to think critically, communicate effectively, embrace challenges head on, especially not only as a woman, but a woman of color, to trust in God because he never fails you, and most importantly, to never be afraid to use your voice. So I attended Michigan State University, and while I was there, I had dreams of becoming a lawyer. If you knew me, that's all I talked about. Like, I love all of the shows like Criminal Minds, FBI, Law and Order, SVU. Like, I was going to be a lawyer. Like, you couldn't tell me otherwise. So that's why I strategically chose MSU, because during my tenure at Michigan State, I majored in political science. East Lansing was just like 10 minutes from Lansing, which is the capital of Michigan. So I started interning for state senators. I worked for like the #1 lobbying firm in the state of Michigan. I interned for the Illinois Attorney General. And I just knew I would get that experience firsthand by attending a school where the state capitol was basically down the street. But life happened, and God was pulling me in a different direction which led me to accept a job teaching English in Southeast China. And that experience really shaped me into who I am today. Now, don't get me wrong, it was very challenging. It was a culture shock. But especially because I went from being like a regular person down the street, minding my business, to like the most talked about person in town in less than 48 hours. And that experience, for me, it was a lot. I struggled. I cried. I felt like I didn't belong. I didn't go to school to be a teacher. I went to school to be a lawyer. So my whole life changed in basically just a matter of months. But that experience, what kept me in that experience was remembering Jeremiah 29:11. For I know the plans that I have for you, plans to prosper you and not to harm you, plans to give you hope in the future. So God really took that experience to develop not only my organizational skills, but my communication skills, so I can have the ability to communicate across different cultures and ethnicities and race. I learned how to embrace challenges head on with boldness, just like Macaulay has instilled in me. And I'm also learning how to trust God along in the process. Because, sometimes, let's be honest, it's like, okay, Lord, I hear you, but I want to do this. And he's like, no, I want you to do this. So now I currently work for IBM, which is like the #1 tech company in the world, but I'm a digital sales representative at IBM. And I realized that everything I've learned thus far has led me to better assist customers by understanding their needs and introducing them to the best technology solutions to bring success into their organization. And actually yesterday my boss recognized me as the not the #1, but as representative of the month. So I received that award and I was, surprised. I remember coming into IBM and I struggled. This was brand new to me. I didn't go to school to work in the tech industry. I went to school to be a lawyer. So, feeling inadequate, but God told me that I have a purpose here and I just do what I do best. So, to wrap it up, it's just important to remember that your journey and your timing is yours and nobody else's, and that everything you're doing right now is intended to help you fulfill the purpose that he has for your life. So I will pass it on to Cass.
Hello, everyone. My name is Casimir Street. I am a junior strategic communications major, leadership studies minor, and I attend Hampton University, and it's a historically Black college or university. Everyone calls me Cassie. I just would like to first start off by saying I'm so happy to be here. Even those of you I don't know, I literally love you all just because you go to Macaulay. I'm truly blessed to just be on this panel with people who impacted my life, like Maya and Sydney, true mentorship, and my best friend Dejana, she's on the panel with me, and I'm just so happy to be here and talk to you guys about my experience at Macaulay. Anybody who knows me knows I love Macaulay with my whole heart. I still wear my class ring every day. It's just an amazing place. I was involved in so much at Macaulay. Varsity clubs, student ambassadors, was always in a video doing something. I was a Kairos leader. I loved it so much, and I think I loved it because I think it was the first place where I really felt like I belonged, and I felt a true sense of just like sisterhood and just knowing there was somebody there for you when you needed it, and the all-girls experience that I haven't experienced anywhere else. Like I said, I go to Hampton in Virginia. I love Hampton so much. I'm studying for the LSAT right now. I plan on going to law school. So it's like school is crazy, but I'm in a lot of organizations here, all these leadership programs, things like that, but it's nothing that I can't keep up with just because I was doing all of it at Macaulay. And man, I just feel like I could tell you guys just so much about but you guys know it all, you're in the thick of it now at Macaulay, just learning who you are and just be sweet to each other, just enjoy your time there. Cause I promise you, I wish I could go back and just walk the halls and see my friends. But I'll just wait till the questions to see what else you guys have to say. But I would just like to say that Macaulay was some of the best years of my life, and I'm so grateful and blessed that I got to experience such a great place. So thanks.
Oh, no, go ahead.
Hello, everyone. My name is Sydney Walls. I'm a proud graduate of the 2016 class. I recently just graduated from Howard University, where I obtained my degree in international business. My journey to Macaulay is a little bit differently. So I was extremely excited to go to Macaulay because from first to eighth grade, I was the only Black woman at my whole entire school. So just experience that for 8 years. By the time of eighth grade, I was ready for a new venture. I just wanted to go to a school where people looked like me or where I was more accepted. And so when the first day of Macaulay, I was so excited that I was able to go to the class and the hallways, and that there was people that looked like me and that we had something in common. And so I'm just forever grateful that Macaulay gave me that experience. Believe it or not, I was very nervous about coming to Macaulay because my older sister went to Macaulay. So I knew I had a lot of big shoes to fill, and everyone at Macaulay loved my sister, and they were just calling me Baby Walls, baby, that's my last name. So I just wanted to find my own identity at Macaulay. And so some of the things that I really enjoyed doing was the track and field. I was a MAC with Merit, I was prom queen, and I just loved, I would literally stay after Macaulay and just be in the hallways or just be in the teacher's office. I did not want to leave class. I did not want to leave Macaulay's campus. I would do anything so I could just stay at Macaulay for much longer. I would like to leave you all with a quote, and it's: "A ship in a harbor is safe, but that's not what the ship is built for." So basically this quote means is that to go outside of your comfort zone. So when it was time for me to graduate from Macaulay, I was boo-hoo crying. I was in the bathroom. I was talking to counselors. I was like, do I need to repeat this class? I can stay longer. I can be a teacher's assistant. I was willing to do anything and everything to stay at Macaulay. But unfortunately, I had passed on my classes and it was time for me to move on to the next part of my life. And that was Howard University. And going to Howard, I was very nervous. I was really scared that no one was going to accept me for my true corny self. But I had to remember what Macaulay instilled in me. And that was just to be very confident within myself, and that I was put on this earth for a purpose, and Macaulay helped me find that purpose. And similar to Kaz, is the reason why I love Macaulay so much is because they poured so much love into me. So I'm just forever grateful that I am able to just give back an inch of what everything that Macaulay was able to give to me. So thank you all so much.
Okay, I think I'm next. But hi everyone, my name is, hold on one second. Can you all hear me? Okay, cool. Hi everyone, my name is Dejana Newkirk. I also graduated Macaulay in 2018. Right now, I currently attend Howard University, the same Howard that Sydney went to. And I'm a finance major, so that's been kind of interesting, but I'll talk a little bit about that later. But just with my experience at Macaulay, coming in, I wasn't afraid because my sister was already there. I had known all of her friends because she come in with a large group of friends as well. So they kind of helped me, even on the first day of school, organize my locker. They told me the do's and the don'ts, all types of things, carry pencils and pens in your kilt skirt in the pocket, or don't carry a book bag around, just little things that I had to learn along the way. And I would say that coming to Macaulay, it was a very different environment for me because I had something that was a complete polar opposite than Sydney. I had gone to a school where there wasn't much diversity at all. So coming into Macaulay was my first actual experience going to school with people who did not look like me, being taught by teachers who didn't look like me. But I don't think that, it resonated with me any differently. But I will say that just from my experience, I took so much from Macaulay. Even though you might think it's something that's very abnormal, my freshman year roommate also went to an all-girls school. One of my best friends that I met freshman year, she went to an all-girls school. And we kind of laugh about it now because at the time, I just thought it was so, weird that I was going to an all-girls school, but, other people do it as well. And I'm kind of able to see some of the lessons that I learned within them as well. But at Macaulay, I did a lot of things. I was kind of like all over the place. I was on the advisory board, which was probably the highlight of my experience. I also did a cappella and I was in chorus. And then I did Macaulay's dance team back when they had a dance team, like long time ago. And then just so much more, just being involved and just gradually getting more and more involved as the years went on. I was in a lot of AP and honors courses. And so I would definitely say that those prepared me for what Howard is, a very rigorous school. And being a finance major amongst so many men, it definitely taught me to stand out, especially, standing out amongst people that look like me even then. So I think that Macaulay definitely taught me things about confidence and just how to assert myself in situations where I might feel, I don't know, unconfident, or I might just feel like, I'm not good enough to step up to the plate. But Macaulay kind of erased the doubts in my mind as I came in kind of shy. I'm not that way anymore, thankfully. But I would say, yes, it taught me a lot of lessons, and I'm just grateful for the experience. I'm grateful that I came in with some of my best friends from St. John and then Cassie as well. And I'm just grateful to have like the network that I've developed over the years, even still now, talking to Maya and Sydney, and then going to school with Sydney, and I would walk in wearing my Cairo sweatshirt and we just sit there and laugh. And so, yeah, I just definitely think that my experience in Macaulay taught me a lot, but it also taught me, taught me some hard lessons as well. So I think the good definitely outweighs the bad. And I definitely think that every opportunity and experience that you see or anything that you're exposed to will definitely give you some takeaways when you're matriculating through college or just in life in general.
Hi, everybody. My name is Maya Nunn, and I am a 2016 Mother Macaulay graduate. Since my time at Macaulay, I graduated from the University of Missouri, also known as Mizzou, where I got a degree in journalism, and I emphasized in public relations and got a minor in Spanish. Now I'm working for one of the largest PR agencies in the world, and I'm getting my master's at the University of Houston. I'm studying sports and entertainment PR at the University of Houston right now. So a lot going on. And anybody on this call can tell you, when I got to Macaulay, I never had a problem speaking up or meeting new people. If anything, they'll probably say I talk a little too much. But my time at Macaulay taught me how to refocus that and speak up for the right things. And so that's kind of what I took with me to Mizzou and now U of H. Unfortunately, my experience at the University of Houston has been kind of limited because of COVID, but at Mizzou, I really was reminded all the time about my experience at Macaulay. When I was there, I had such a strong community. I joined Alpha Kappa Alpha Sorority Incorporated, where I met my best friends in the world, friends that became family. So it reminded me a lot about my Macaulay experience because my Macaulay friends are family now too. So I will say that the University of Missouri was also a huge transition for me to go from the south side of Chicago to the middle of Missouri, where people have different beliefs and they're not afraid to express those beliefs. It was a hard transition, and honestly, having that experience at Macaulay that taught me to stand up for yourself when something is wrong really got me through that time at Mizzou. There's discrimination that unfortunately people have to live through every day of their lives. And I think that I was really introduced to that at Mizzou. But because of that history at Macaulay, I wasn't afraid to be like, no, this is wrong. And this is how we should go about combating that. And I just hope that every girl tuned in tonight and every girl who's not tuned in can come out with that same confidence and strength that I came out of Macaulay with. Because if you see that something's wrong, someone else sees that something's wrong, but they might not have that Macaulay education, so you might have to stand up for them. So I just hope that everyone kind of keeps that in mind tonight as we go into some more questions and some more details about our lives and our experiences. Just remember that Macaulay girls are strong, probably the strongest that I've ever met. So always remember that.
All right. Hi, everybody. My name is Cammie Smith, and I graduated from Macaulay in 2019. Attending Macaulay gave me a wealth of opportunities and strong friendships, but most importantly, it was the place where I began to understand my identity. Prior to walking the halls of Macaulay, I graduated from a very small grammar school. Like, my entire 8th grade class was 8 kids. So when I first got to Macaulay, it was definitely a culture shock for me. During my freshman year, I kept my head down and I focused on my academics for the most part. But during my sophomore year, many teachers and faculty members saw the potential in me that I didn't see in myself at the time, and I began to flourish in more ways than my academics. By junior year, I was a part of many clubs, and I felt that I had begun to build my own perspective on this world. With this perspective, I started to blaze my own trail at Macaulay and as a Mighty Mac. During my senior year, I was named the Sister Brian Costello Scholar. I was president of the Spanish Honor Society. I was a K-136 leader, and I was a part of revamping the Unity Community Club. In this club, we raised $500 for Gigi's Playhouse, which was probably one of the biggest highlights of my Macaulay career. When I graduated from Macaulay, I had no doubts that I had been prepared to step out on my own and go away to college. So when I got to Eastern Michigan University in Ypsilanti, Michigan, and during my first year of college, I was technically a freshman, but I was actually classified as a junior because of all the credits I had accumulated from Macaulay's dual enrollment program and AP classes. I also took with me that same spirit to make a difference to Eastern, and I joined an organization called Optimize, where I was able to start the foundation of my own organization called Take Charge. And this organization aims to increase the retention rate, which is basically like making sure Black and Brown students come back after year 1 of college to re-enroll in classes. It will also provide opportunities of access to financial literacy and support while attending a predominantly white institution. Currently, I'm an anthropology and Spanish major, and my dream is to travel the world and work with youth in all different communities to help them grow in their own identities, like Macaulay helped me grow in mine. And I thank Macaulay for the foundation it gave me in finding my voice and challenging me to pursue different opportunities wholeheartedly. You all are young women in a great place, and it is a great time to be a Mighty Mac, truly. Take advantage of all the resources that you have while you can, and I feel even more proud to be a part of the Black alum at Macaulay, especially with the knowledge that young women like Noadia are making and sharing opportunities for us to shine. So thank you.
Oh, you're too kind. Thank you. So now we're gonna open it up to the Q&A portion of everything. And so the first question we're gonna direct towards Nia, but if anyone has like something they like to chime in, like some commentary or something like that, feel free for the other alums on the panel. But Nia, you say you were a part of a lot of different organizations. So how do you balance all of those things and your academics, especially having science in there?
Sure. Yeah, that's a really good question. I would definitely say the lessons I learned at Macaulay like carried through to college. And what I mean by this is when I was at Macaulay, I came in as a freshman and I knew that I wanted to be involved, mostly because I like meeting new people, but when I was a freshman, I was shy. And I did try to do as much as I could, but sometimes I felt like I was holding back a little bit just because I was shy. But through the organizations I joined, which were the honor societies, as I mentioned before, track and field. I played basketball my first 2 years, Unity community, student ambassadors. Just through all of that, I was able to really grow my confidence and just become more outspoken and more confident in my abilities, and just knowing what I could accomplish if I believed in myself, and having the support of Macaulay's like faculty and staff and other students. It really did show me that when you are yourself, people will believe in you and they will push you to achieve what they know you can achieve, and show you that, you know, you are capable of greatness. But in terms of balancing academics and organizations, one thing I did start doing was journaling at night. I started a gratitude journal, and that just kind of, it gives me a chance just to kind of calm down and just carve out maybe even just 5 minutes of day to just really write down what I'm grateful for, and just remind me that it is easy to get overwhelmed. And especially as a science major, a biology major, it is easy to kind of compare yourselves to what other people are doing and to think, oh, I'm not moving as fast as other people are, or I'm not exactly where I think I should be. But definitely just keeping in mind that, you know, everyone moves at their own pace, and find what really works for you. So what works for me, I started writing in a gratitude journal. I try to meditate every day as much as I can. Sometimes I forget, but I try to meditate every day with the Insight. I think it's called the Insight app, and they give you like every day you meditate, it gives you like a streak. So that was kind of something that kind of encouraged me to keep going, was that I didn't want to break my streak of meditating. So I started that, the journal, and just really, I started reading a little bit more too. That just, it gives you time to step away from your phone and just social media. It's a great thing, but it can also be a bad thing, and it can be something that makes you feel not as great as you should feel. So I definitely would recommend just finding ways that you can kind of take a step back and remind yourself that everything that you're doing great. And especially during a pandemic, it can be hard to feel like you're not making progress, but just to kind of take a step back and do what you can to kind of step away from the rigor of classes and making sure assignments are turned in, and just taking time every day to realize what you're grateful for, and just know that everything in the end will work out if you just keep working hard.
Okay, that was great. Thank you. The next question I'm going to ask, which once again is open to any alum that would like to chime in. I'm sure this may be one that some of you have some words for, although it's probably more directly towards Olivia. So, what advice would you give to girls that are currently struggling to find their own social identity like you were freshman year?
I would suggest staying later. I know this sounds weird, but way back when Macaulay wasn't all fancy, we had round circle tables in the lounge, and it was a food bar like on the side in the lunchroom. And I promise you, my dad was always late picking me up. And it was always somebody staying late after school, trying to talk, trying to snack, order Jimmy John's. I never had Jimmy John's before I attended Macaulay. It's always somebody there. You just have to be open to it. So I would suggest staying later, or even walking out of class last will always get you to somebody who's always last, or always think they can't get to the door first. Don't rush it. Do not rush it, because I know it's a timer. Now they have a clock to tell you how long you are until you get to class, but I promise you, you will make it to the class. It is not that far. Do not rush the process. There are many opportunities, but sometimes it's hard for you to get the opportunities if you're always shying away. Don't shy away from it. Sit at a new table, get to lunch early maybe, and sit at a new table. The girls that sit there, they'll sit right with you, because Macaulay is about a place of community. Once you start trying to join in the community and stop shying away from the community, it will grab you and consume you. As soon as I started staying late, I met people, then we started talking during the day. So that one staying late day became a regular thing, because I'm like, oh, don't pick me up till this time because I want to stay and do this, that, and the third. So as you continue to stay late and just meet girls, it will grow. They will, I promise you, they will consume you. Girls that I barely knew, they just consumed me, called me their sister, FaceTime. I'm like, what? Like, I couldn't understand why, but in the same sense, they never met someone like me before. They never met someone like me before. I never met someone like them before. And now we talk every single day, all day, because I stayed late. I got to know them. They got to know me, and we created a bond. And that now that bond is forever. They say Macaulay is a lifetime advantage because it is. It's that staying late. It's that communicating. It's that talking. It's those group projects that no one understands, but the teacher has it in place for a reason. It's all those things combined into one that Macaulay really makes you into someone. I also saw like they did the retreat. It's that too. Don't shy away from those retreats, because those retreats, you make friends on those retreats. Because you think it's lame now, I promise you, it's stuff we laugh about to this day. Tossing, grabbing each other and pulling each other over each other's bodies. It was some activity that nobody understood, but it was something that we laughed about to this day. So stay late, get to know your friends, get to know your peers, because I promise you, these girls are not as shy as they may seem, because as soon as you leave Macaulay grounds, they want to hang out. They want to do things that they've never done before. And that's because we're all new to the process. We all don't know each other. We all don't know what's next, but we can help each other find what's next if we continue to press forward and continue to be involved in Macaulay. Macaulay's a place of involvement. So don't be scared of that, because it's all girls, because everybody's different. And really, that's what Macaulay did for me. So that's the best advice I can offer.
Okay, our next question is going to be for Denai. When you were speaking, you mentioned that you really had to step out of your comfort zone when you went to teach in China. Not only was it a new place to be, but it was a new career choice that you found yourself, or a new career path that you found yourself going down. So if there are other girls that are facing the decision to kind of stick with what they've been doing or step out of their comfort zone the way you did, would you tell them to go for it? And if so, what do you think the benefits are of challenging yourself in that way and stepping out of your comfort zone?
Thank you so much. That's a good question. I am very adventurous. So my goal in life is to visit all 7 continents. So far, I've visited 4. So I say go for it, whether that's traveling around the world or just stepping out of your comfort zone, just trying something new, because life is too short. If the pandemic has taught us anything, it's to appreciate life. It's to, every day that you wake up, you have breath in your lungs, like Nia was saying, she has a gratitude journal. Before I even get on my phone or log on to work, I just thank God every morning, thank you for another day. So take advantage of that day, because you never know what the opportunity may lead to. I'm a firm believer that everything happened for a reason, and that everything you do is for your intended purpose. You don't know the network connections that might come from it. So life is too short. We're young. Go for it. I think that experience for me was very transformative, and I will always remember that experience. So go for it. Step out of your comfort zone.
Okay, this next question is for both Sydney and Dejana. How would you guys define your experience at a predominantly Black college, and how do you think that differed from your experience at Macaulay, where it was a predominantly white environment?
DJ, you want to go first?
I was about to ask you the same thing. I guess I can go first. Wow, that's a really loaded question, because I kind of will say I had the best of both worlds, if that makes sense. Even before I applied for college, I went to a predominantly Black school for grammar school, and then I went to a predominantly white school for high school. And my experience at Macaulay, it definitely encouraged me to kind of tap more into who I was as a person. Being able to see people be so proud of their Irish heritage and things of that nature, I wanted to learn more about who I was as an adult, if that makes sense. And so that's one of the main reasons why I decided to go to Howard. But I would definitely say that the HBCU experience definitely lives up to what it sounds like. my freshman year, I can just remember certain things, learning things. Like I was in a Pan-Africanism class, learning about W.E.B. Du Bois and learning about Toure and things like that. Things that I would have never even read about on my own personal time, you know, reading texts and coming from going to a school where so many great people attended, Toni Morrison, people like that, Felicia Rashad, Kamala Harris, like people like that who attended Howard University. And so just being able to be in that atmosphere all the time definitely helped with my self-esteem, because I was walking the same paths that these great people had walked before. And so definitely going to Howard for that aspect, academic wise, it's just as rigorous as any other school, if not even more, because it's one thing to kind of find your wits around people that don't look like you, because that's kind of like your competitive edge. But it's another thing to be able to find what really makes you stand out amongst people that, you know, look just like you. You're no longer, you know, a speck in the milk. You're immersed fully within the culture. You are everything that is represented, you are a part of. And so it kind of helped me find my competitive advantage. Like I mentioned, I'm in finance, but that doesn't mean that I'm not going to apply for this internship. That doesn't mean that I'm not going to go for this sector. Like I'm going into investment banking, and that's probably one of the toughest sectors to go into, but I didn't shy away from that. And I would just say Macaulay really helped me be able to do those things. And I would say, you know, being able to be a part of a Black Greek sorority as well, that has helped me tremendously as far as finding that same level of sisterhood that I had at Macaulay. And, you know, at the end of the day, it's a choice. And I think you'll be fine either way, but you have to be able to decide, what do I need and what do I need in order to, you know, prosper into the best adult that I can possibly be. And just because you don't go to an HBCU doesn't mean that you can't find that community, because we did the same thing at Macaulay. Macaulay wasn't predominantly Black, but we still found our community within ourselves, similar to how we're sitting here fellowshipping tonight. So I would just say, you know, consider it. I mean, almost every Black person in my class went to an HBCU, and it definitely has expanded my network. Just being able to know people who go to different HBCUs, who know people that I might know, or who know people that my friends might know. And so, yeah, I would definitely say that Howard definitely lives up to the hype. It's hard, it's rigorous, but it's so rewarding, because you become a part of the network that is so grand, that is so important, that does things in the world. And like I can go on list more alum, but we'd be here all night. But I would just say that definitely, you know, goes into, you know, being a part of the Howard community, the social life, and those are just things that I was looking for when I was deciding to go to Howard, and in comparison to other schools.
I don't know how to follow up after that amazing answer. But one thing that I will say, though, is that similar to what I said in my introduction, is that Macaulay helped me find my identity, and then I was able to apply that identity at Howard University. And so that's one of the things that I would just say about Howard and about Macaulay. And I'm just forever grateful to have attended both schools. And I just love both of the communities that I have been so blessed to be a part of for the past 8 years.
Thank you. So this next question is also a combination question. It's for both Cassie and Maya. You both mentioned how you learned that speaking up is super duper important, and you learned that on your journey at Macaulay. So what are some tips that you would give girls about speaking up? Like, would you say there's a right way to do it, a wrong way to do it? And just, yeah, so what's some advice you would give them, and how would you tell them the right way to speak up for the right things?
I would say the wrong way is to not speak up at all. Like, that's the absolute wrong way. There are ways that are more effective than others, but the only wrong way is to not say something if you see something. And I know that's easier said than done, because, you know, it takes a lot of courage. It's an uncomfortable thing, but the best outcomes are born out of being uncomfortable. So sometimes you kind of have to sacrifice your comfort for the greater good of people around you. And I don't think anyone who's ever like stood up for a cause that's greater than them has ever regretted it. So if you're thinking about it, then maybe it's worth talking about. But yeah, there's no wrong way.
I totally agree with everything that Maya just said about speaking up. I actually have this John Lewis quote on a bag that says, if you see something that's wrong, it's your right to speak up and act on it. And I would say definitely some advice, just read the room. Know where you are, know when, you see who's loud and who's, quiet, and see when it's time to calmly attack and then attack, but calmly, just know how to read the room and address it. And just every situation is different, but definitely speak up for anything that you believe in. I learned that so much at Macaulay. And at Hampton, I've gotten so much into politics and things like that. I've learned so much about speaking up when it's time to fire back, when it's time to calm down. And just as women at Macaulay, when it's time to gear up. So that's some advice I'll give about speaking up.
Thanks for the great advice, guys. And so I have one more question that's for Cammie, and then after that, I'm going to ask a question that's for all of our alum, and then we're going to close out. So, Cammie, you mentioned that you started your own organization. Would you like to tell us about a few steps that you took when coming up with your organization, maybe some things you thought about, maybe the reason for your organization, and maybe you could give the girls some tips on how to start their own organizations if they're thinking about doing the same?
For sure. Thank you for that question. So when I went to Eastern, Eastern is kind of like a mini HBCU in Michigan because the student population, the Black student population is like 18 to 20%, which is really high, especially for a Michigan school. So I knew a lot of Black people and the Black students that were struggling to pay their tuition and didn't know where to turn. And a lot of them were first generation students and didn't have a lot of support or even education from their families on what to do in that situation, but they wanted to continue school. So I saw that a lot of students were dropping out or taking semesters off. And I just felt so compelled to help and wanted to do something to alleviate that stress from them. So like I said in my introduction, there's an organization at my school called Optimize Eastern. And it's basically just a social innovation organization. And so they challenge students to identify a problem in your community or in the world and then take the steps to solve it. So I went through the steps that they had, prototyping and finding your target audience and all that good stuff. And I got $3,000 in funding from presenting my project to the organization. And so now I'm actually working with a woman named Gail Taylor, and she works for Chase Bank, and she's a community manager, and her job is to basically promote the Detroit community and help be a catalyst for positive change. So she's kind of acting as a mentor to me, and when I pitched her my project, she wanted to make sure that I was going in the right direction. And so I'm actually meeting with her about my proposal and presentations, and she's going to be introducing Take Charge to her bosses at Chase and JP Morgan. So that's where I'm at right now. When I have more updates, I can definitely update you guys. But yeah, so my hope is to just provide financial support as well as financial literacy training to Black students to help increase the retention rate at predominantly white institutions.
That is great. And I think that's a fantastic idea. Thank you so much for sharing with us. And so this very last question for all of our alum, what is a Mighty Mac in one word?
Confident.
Devoted.
Bold.
Powerhouse.
Resilient.
Unique.
Fearless.
Courageous.
Okay, I was just making sure no one was gonna jump in. But that concludes our panel. Thank you so much for everyone that came. Thank you to our fabulous alum that we can all give a silent snap to because we're all on mute besides me. I'll snap by the speaker. There you guys go. Thank you so much for doing this. Thank you to everyone for being present. We're super excited not only that we were able to do this, but for the other things that we have coming up with our Black Student Union. So be on the lookout for that. And I hope everyone has a great end to their week. Good night.